on Zoom,
Let me see if you can see the. Oh, you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Check.
Good.
Check. All clear?
I hear y'all.
All right, good deal. Yo, welcome back to the Out the Box Show. I'm John Wallace alongside my co-host James Luffy and my other co-host Chris Calderera. Wow. How about that? Sounds a little bit different. It's a good kind of different. Chris Calderera, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I appreciate y'all inviting me on the show to take the place of Roy. It's big shoes to fill. I know he's studying for the bar exam, but it's big shoes to fill, I guess, figuratively and literally. I'm sure he's probably at least a size 13. So
yeah, his son's gonna have big feet too.
Yeah.
So, Chris, it's great to have you. You are our number one out the box columnist. You work for us. So we don't pay you for your efforts, but just so you know, it doesn't go unnoticed and unappreciated. So we thank you for putting out great content. You're a master of the spoken and the written word, but your articles on bootcrewmedia.com are fantastic, and your countdown to kickoff column weekly heading up to the LSU football season has been great thus far, and it's going to continue to be great.
I appreciate that. It's y'all are the best employer that I've had that does not pay me anything.
Exactly.
Thank you.
It's an unpaid internship. You got to earn it. You got to earn the out the box payroll.
It's like merch, so you can get hats.
Right. Yeah, you got a hat. You got a hat. You paid for it, though, right? We'll get you one.
We got them. We got you one coming.
Yeah. We got you, homie.
We'll see.
We have a packed show for you guys. LSU baseball has some players departing the program, not via the transfer portal, via the MLB draft, which was going to happen eventually. So that's a good thing because it means MLB LSU is a thing still.
And I would say it was probably a better day or 2 days of the draft than we maybe originally thought. So we're getting some players back.
Yes. We are going to get to LSU SEC Media Days. That's going on right now as well. Chris has been scouring the message boards, Tiger droppings, 104.5 ESPN. He's got all the scoop on SEC Media Days. We should have sent him there. We should have sent him there to SEC Media Days to report back to us in the studio. But we're gonna talk on.
I don't know if you guys were going to be able to foot that bill.
Yeah, no, we got it. Our payroll is massive. And Luffy works at an accounting firm, so he knows how to cook the books.
John's an engineer.
Yeah.
So he makes some money.
I'm a train engineer. Then we got the off-the-charts segment. We're going to break down DBs. Luffy and Chris have their notes together. I texted Chris earlier today. I said, make sure you got your notes ready. Y'all should see the notepad that Luffy has printed out. He's got like everything in sections. And he's got a little letter pad too that he took some handwritten notes. So we have a great show for you guys. Can't wait to get to it. But before we get to all that, as we said at the start of the show, the Boot Crew Media Network, every single week this summer, Chris Calderera is putting out a fire column called the Countdown to Kickoff column. He looks back at a game in Tiger history that meant something to him, and he puts it in a way that is just so poetic. And it makes you just what's a good word? Yearn.
Yes.
Never thought I'd use the word yearn on this podcast, but it makes you yearn for some LSU football. So make sure to check out Chris Calderera's column on bootcrewmedia.com as well as all the other content. Also, Boot Crew Media Golf Tournament, August 12th. We're trying to figure out if we can make it. We're trying to maybe get a team together. It's going to be a great day. Boot Crew Media always puts on great events, and the golf tournament is nothing short of that. Also, one of the best things you can do. Oh, sorry. Wow. I don't know what that was. One of the best things you can do over the summer is play golf.
No doubt.
That is one of the best things you can do over the summer. And one of the best things you can do also over the summer is get Blaine Loop to be your realtor. Blaine wants you to know he will be your friend, your neighbor, and your agent. Make sure to call or text Blaine Loop at 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. Blaine is my realtor. Blaine is my realtor. He has his name on legal documents that Rory is going to stamp one day and look over when I get into a lawsuit. But it is in the books. It is on record. Blaine is my realtor, and he wants to be your realtor as well. 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. All right, MLB draft going on today. Jacob Berry.
Yep.
We knew this was coming.
Yep.
We knew that this is not a shock. He went
sixth overall. Yep.
To the Miami Marlins. Kind of disappointing to go to a program that is perpetually bad, it seems like.
Yeah, hopefully he'll get traded in the next couple of weeks. But, I mean, congrats to him. Big signing bonus coming for him. Extremely, extremely good power hitter. So he was always going to go really high in the first round and I think it was obvious that he wasn't coming back to LSU.
Yeah, I feel like I'm stepping in for Rory here. I got to defend the Mets, but I'm a Braves fan, so that you will hear no such love from. But I agree. You knew he was going to go pretty high. His fielding is a question.
Definitely.
To some of the pundits out there, I know they talked at length about it when he did get drafted, but there's no question about the bat. And I heard they were comparing him to a Pete Alonso, who's going to be in the home run derby tonight, because Pete Alonso's fielding wasn't quite there, but the bat was absolutely ready for the show. And they were saying that Jacob Berry is a similar circumstance. I think that Berry is probably not going to be as bad at fielding as people perceive him to be. He kind of made strides late there, but I'm excited to watch him play.
So he got drafted as a what? Was it a DH or is it just an infielder?
I think let's see, did it even say on the
because
thing?
that's the thing. It's like
it says third baseman on the thing, but I don't think it'll be third. I think maybe first or outfield.
Yeah, he might be an outfielder.
Yeah, I would assume that they are projecting him for either first or outfield. I don't really see him in another spot.
Yeah, I mean, a switch hitting guy like that is infinitely valuable, even if he's not in the field.
I mean, you think about how good the third baseman and the shortstops are that play.
Kind of like Josh Smith.
Exactly, how good they are. So, defense is the question mark around him.
Shout out Josh Smith. I don't know if we recorded since he hit his first home run. Kind of a weird story. Hit his first home run in the bigs as an inside the park home run, which is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, and he's been doing really well. So good to see Josh doing well. He's a great dude.
For the Rangers too. So
which is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
you got Seager hitting behind you. That's not the worst thing in the world when Seager's. I think he hits third usually. So
you're gonna see some strikes.
yeah, you are, and he's really smart at the plate and knows how to get on base. Next pick.
Explain this to me. As I read this, I'm just a little confused. I'm not as Rory. Rory would like eat my lunch right now for not knowing this, but it says Cade Doughty was drafted with the 78th pick in round 2C. What the hell is the C?
Well, so last year, you know how Kumar Rocker, who got drafted third overall this year, got drafted by Rory's Mets. Rory's Mets said, "Hey, your shoulder." I think it was his shoulder.
Yeah.
Was messed up. We're not going to sign you. So then, since they didn't sign the pick, the MLB rewards them like a compensatory pick. So that's probably the best example I can give of recent. And so again, Kumar Rocker was back in the draft this year and went third, I think, to the Rangers. So he'll be back with Jack Leiter from Vanderbilt. And Chris, if you have a better explanation or something, feel free.
That's how I understand it. I mean, I don't know how accurate it is to somebody who consumes the MLB draft 24/7, but I think that's a pretty good way to put it. And like you said, with Kumar Rocker, a lot of times in the MLB draft is funny because a deal is never guaranteed when they draft you. When you get drafted in the NFL, you're going to go play for the team. There's rare examples like the Eli Mannings of the world, but it's not so in the MLB. And so whenever somebody does back out on you or an injury happens that you didn't know about, like a Kumar Rocker, you're awarded another pick. So that's exactly what that was.
But yeah, good to see Cade drafted that high. Congrats to him. I mean, a little bit worried about the latest shoulder injury he had at LSU. Was hoping that wouldn't make him slide because he's a good dude and he's a really clutch player.
You better get used to that colder weather up in Toronto. That's kind of a far cry from the Baton Rouge heat right now.
Yeah, a little bit different. So next.
This one is kind of disappointing. This kind of broke today while we were all at work and all that. And it's like you're kind of given LSU's pitching performance this past year, you're hoping all of the bright spots and the pieces that held the pitching staff together up to that point were to stay on the team. But with the 5th round and the 160th pick to the New York Yankees, not the Jankies, the Yankees, Eric Raiselman. Big loss for LSU, huge get for the Yankees. It's really not surprising once you think about it. LSU fans tend to hold out hope for something like that. Maybe him to slide in the draft and come back for another year and whatnot. But in my eyes, like he's ready to go get started in the minor leagues and he will pitch in the MLB, I believe.
Yeah, and another guy that didn't get drafted, excited for Raiselman. But we do have a couple other guys coming back. But yeah, Rez. I mean, he's got the stuff. Like he just got to, hone it in, work on the off speed, and I'm sure he'll be in the. I mean, I think he could have used another year in college, but also there is a big risk if you're a pitcher. So hard to say he should have come back. But we are getting Paul Gervais back. He tweeted today, "Tiger Nation, let's run it back." So very excited to have him back. We like you said, we want every pitcher we can have, and good to have him back.
Yeah. June, to echo Luffy here, junior year is a big money year for a lot of these players, especially pitchers, because if Raiselman does come back, there's some upside to it. Some people have questioned, the fastball is absolutely there, but as James mentioned, he could stand to work on the off speed a bit. But you come back and then you get drafted again. You really don't have that negotiating power of, hey, I might go back to school, so pay me more, on the signing bonus side of things. So it is unfortunate to lose a guy like that, staple of your bullpen for this last season, but he's absolutely.
Yeah, and to your point on the third year thing after your junior year, the Chase Shores, this is also another big get, was really high on some people's big boards and the draft prospects list. Number 1 pitcher, right-handed pitcher from the state of Texas. It tweeted out that he can't wait to be a Tiger, assuming he's kind of done with the draft. And he is, could be a big part of the rotation next year. And he tweeted, can't wait to play for the next 3 years. So that's kind of, to your point that these guys after their third year, they lose a lot of leverage, and you see it happens a lot. So,
well, I mean, just him saying that is like, okay, I'm going to stick this out and I'm not going to just enter the transfer portal if I don't get the playing time that I need or whatever, I mean, that goes to show.
Yeah. So excited to have him. I don't think, I think some people were doubtful. Now the 5 guys that Jay Johnson said we weren't going to get 5 guys. Those guys all got drafted and we're not getting those guys. Not even going to go through them name by name because it really doesn't matter now. Unfortunately, the shortstop was the one a lot of people wanted, but he went, I think, on like the 20th pick, Romero. So he will not be joining the Tigers.
One thing I just thought of, does the toe tap for Raiselman continue in the MLB? Or is that something that a minor league coach is going to say, all right, look, that you did that in college. It was fun while it lasted. You may have tricked a few base runners and whatnot, but we're done with that.
I think you could still see it. I mean, I think you see a lot of goofy warm-ups from the stretch. Craig Kimbrell comes to mind. He was often mocked for the bending down over and before he pitched. I think if Raiselman tells the pitching coach, it helps him get zoned in. I mean, I think he's got a chance to keep it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a pitching coach, so I really have no clue what they're going to tell him. I think they could keep some form of that if it gets more consistent, but who knows? Another guy we lost today, though, Dylan T-Break. was drafted by Rory's Mets. So if you're mad about this, please blame Rory. Tweet at him, tell him. He was the transfer from Creighton. Was, a lot of people thought he'd be definitely a starter for us next year, but it was hard to see us getting him. He's pretty damn good, and another guy who needed to probably go to the draft because his great couple years he's had at Creighton.
This is actually just a complete coincidence that I look like I'm one of the trainers on the Stros. Like I got my Stros hat on and my orange shirt. All coincidence. Didn't do that on purpose. I'm not like that big of a homer like that. Maybe if it was LSU, I would dress like this more often. But I do want to just say real quick, I am a little disappointed in the Stros for picking Drew Gilbert out of Tennessee. I think that guy's a complete asshole. And I'm not a fan of him, regardless of like how well he can swing a bat, hit a ball, or catch a ball in the field. Dude, just I don't know, his attitude just terrible. Watching Tennessee throughout the year, I'm disappointed in the Stros. That's really all I got to say.
Another couple names too that I guess we're still not 100% sure on, but looks like we could be getting them. Gavin Guidry, who could be our shortstop next year. Some people are saying, or a shortstop of the future. Has not been drafted yet. I don't think so far. Brady Neal, the catcher, and Jaden Newt, right-handed pitcher. So if those guys end up in Baton Rouge, it will be a good haul for us. So I guess that's not fully, done yet, but hopefully we can get those couple guys that I just named on campus because they're really good, and it'd be nice to add a catcher.
Yeah, I mean, I don't pretend to know, any of these guys, where they were supposed to go, where they were projected, or if they were supposed to come to school or not. But the sentiment I've gotten from, the 200 or so people that I follow on Twitter, LSU's doing pretty well. It's better than, I guess, we were expected to lose a lot. And those names that we talked about earlier, those 5 guys, they weren't probably ever going to come to campus with where they were slotted at. But I think there's a lot of optimism about what LSU is going to get from this. So that's good news for sure.
It's always weird when the MLB draft comes around too, because like you don't want to root against somebody to go like start their career and make money and play the game that they love, like where they've been dreaming for their whole life, right?
Yeah, and some of these guys, like I would say Gavin Guidry has a chance to like come here to LSU and be like a top 10 pick. So that, I mean, you don't want to root against them, but like it would be awesome to see them come here and develop and, get a huge signing bonus.
It is kind of cool to see, like, to just know that we have Cruz going to be in the top 5 next year as well. Like just LSU have a top 10 pick every year. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty insane that Cruz, I know it's been said so many times, but Cruz is a college baseball player. That is so considering how good he is.
Yes. It is. It's crazy.
Yes. All right. You want to clean up the baseball talk? Home run derby. I know it's going on right now, but just so you can, I want to say who y'all bet on, if y'all did bet, or who y'all think's going to win, just so everybody can laugh today when they listen to this. I had Alonzo.
I think Alonzo will win because he wants the money. Apparently his contract's not that big and that he really wants the money. So, and he will win because he won he won the last 2. So as long as he has like not an off night, he's going to be trying the hardest.
Chris, I saw Acuna. He was like plus 550 to win the Derby.
Yeah. So I guess, it's funny. Luffy brings up a good point because that's something that I heard last year is that, Alonzo.
He wants to win really bad.
Yeah. So he like actually goes out, not to say that the other guys don't, try to hit home runs, but he's got a little something extra in him because he's trying to get paid. But I do like Acuna. I guess to break up the Alonzo trifecta, I'll go Acuna.
I did bet on Acuna. I did not bet on Alonzo because he was like a really heavy favorite, but I'd bet on Acuna. So if you want to laugh at me if we lose that, so I'm with you there, Chris.
It's a value play.
Yeah, value play has to be.
Absolutely.
All right, Workbox is one of Louisiana's leaders in construction, industrial, and residential services. If you need a storage container, portable office, portable restroom rental, roll-off dumpster, we say it every week, cleanest porta potties in the business. John uses them frequently. He's usually driving around, doing stuff.
If I just see one like on the road,
Yeah,
I'll just pull over.
when you're looking in, if someone's building a house and they got the dual dumpster, which I've been seeing a lot. Saw it yesterday. Somebody was building a house that had a dumpster and the porta potty both. You have to call Martina Workbox. John will hop out too and maybe make a guest appearance in your porta potty. It is Workbox LC. Ask for Martine. It is 225-343-4886. Call Workbox if you need storage container, portable office, portable restroom rentals, roll-off dumpsters, porta potties. It is 225-343-4886.
All right, let's get to SEC Media Days taking place as we speak. All the local Baton Rouge radio guys are up there. We should be, but I guess the engineering and the accounting firms needed us more this week. They just wouldn't give us off. But guys like the Colada Show, Jacques Doucet, Matt Moscona, who Chris frequents after further review. From 3 to 6, you can sometimes hear he's a contributor to that show as well. So I guess my thought process is let's kind of talk about the guys that LSU sent. I guess as far as their leadership goes and like what they bring to like the media perspective of how LSU football is perceived, right? So LSU chose not to, which isn't so much surprising, but Keishawn Butte stayed home. He was dealing with the injury and whatnot, and he's got the NIL stuff. And to be honest with you, I don't think he's very much like into the whole talking to media thing.
Yeah. And you know they had the GOAT TK, Tommy Karam. If you don't know who that is, if you didn't go to LSU, one of the best teachers. I think it's the best teacher. A lot of people agree with that. He works on them with like their personal brand and their overall like default look. And
the default look.
Yeah. And he's big on that. And Keyshawn kind of looks pissed off all the time. So I don't know if he would. That's
he woke
just like
up pissed off.
That's like his
Tory
given
Carter
like face. He looks pissed. And BJ Ojolari looks like just like the happiest like dude. Like I watched a little bit of him today. He looked good. Besh looked good. And Mike Jones is a really smiley guy too.
Yeah, they're all just very well spoken and
Yes.
like upbeat to talk about football. Besh, I mean, you got to remember the dude's he's only got 1 year under his belt.
Mhm.
And generally, they don't take sophomores, and they had enough faith and trust in him to put the best face of LSU football forward.
Yeah.
Well, and BJ's from Georgia too, so he had a lot of that home state energy with him today. You know, he was just very upbeat. So I was happy to see that. But yeah, I think we chose 3 good leaders, and you know, and Mike Jones. You know, a lot of people are saying he might. So you know, he's a front runner for that, from what I hear. So yeah, that would be cool to see.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. I think they picked the right guys. I listened to a little bit of each of them. They did good speaking. They don't really, not giving really much away. Even Brian Kelly was kind of like, this is why I chose that. He had to re-explain. He's explained it 1,000 times why he chose the LSU, and he just pretty much had to keep talking about the family thing, the family. Yeah. But other than that, like, I don't know. It's different. Like, O would get up there and like read the entire depth chart, but that didn't really happen this year.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that, I agree, I like SEC Media Days because it gives you, something to talk about football related.
Yeah, football's back. Yeah.
But a lot of the questions are silly. I didn't particularly care for too many of the questions. There was one question that was asked of Brian Kelly that I thought was relevant. I thought, he answered it not well, but, there was some speculation as to how he's recruiting the state of Louisiana, because before this whole recruiting haul that he had, a lot of people were concerned, the Chicken Littles were on Tiger droppings. The sky was falling. Brian Kelly doesn't know how to recruit Louisiana. And one of the things he said was that, recruiting the state of Louisiana is very important, but they're also not going to just offer kids a scholarship just because they are from Louisiana. And I think that probably gets lost among some of the fans here because, you want those home state guys to play for LSU. And, it means something. You grow up as a kid watching, LSU play in Death Valley. But I think you can get kind of wrapped up in a sort of bias to where, are you really getting the best possible player or the best possible fit on your team? Or are you just snagging him because he's a Louisiana guy and, you want to make sure that the media and the fans don't dog you for not getting him? So I thought his answer on that was really interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, to add to that, Chris, I would say maybe a guy like Foster Moreau, who was kind of from Louisiana, New Orleans, was a good kid. Maybe not the highest ranked recruit. I think he was maybe a 3-star for the most part, even lower than that for a long time. And I think guys like Foster will be more likely to get Brian Kelly and LSU offers early, to whereas the previous two staffs have kind of waited on those guys that are on the fence but are really good. Deion Jones, Duke Riley, like really good, just team leaders and everything. Their coaches love them and they are hard workers and the qualities are, a little different, but they might not be this freak athlete yet, or they might not have developed fully yet. I think that's going to be the difference between BK and his staff. Like, they're going to give offers to, some 3-star guys in Louisiana that they like. But maybe a 4-star guy with a bad attitude or something doesn't get an offer. I think that's the difference, but I don't know. We'll see.
What were you saying?
Oh, I was saying I agree. I think that's a really good point. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, hopefully that's what you would like to see. But yeah, I think him saying that is that, we're not going to give a scholarship to a kid that doesn't fit into our program. And I think that's kind of, maybe that could hurt us at some point, but also they could find some more diamonds in the rough before they go to another school and, ball out for a smaller school.
Well, I would much rather guys that, might be a 3-star, but are willing to put in the work. I mean, that was kind of the philosophy in the transfer portal, that
sure.
Also today, where it was just like, we're looking for guys that, are from Louisiana because we want guys that want to play here, not necessarily, the most gifted players on another roster, but who are really ready to put in the work and be team leaders. I think that's going to be a theme of this coaching staff for all the recruiting that they do.
Chris, any sidebar? This isn't LSU related at all, but is there any tension between Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban? Or are they kind of steered clear from each other?
No, I think there definitely is tension. I don't know. So
were they there today?
No, they weren't there today.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I thought was interesting, and this was back in their meetings in Florida a few weeks ago, but Jimbo and Nick Saban were like on completely different ends of the table. And it was weird because, all the coaches were in kind of certain spots, but they had Jimbo and Nick separated by, an SEC official or somebody from the SEC office. I'm not going to read too much into that. I just thought it was interesting.
So when will they be there? Will they be there together? You think?
I don't know which day. I don't know which day it is. I think they might be together though.
They put them just right in the same booth next to each other. I would love it. I think Sankey's a little bit smarter than that. But
no, I mean he might do it for drive views.
I would love to see those two guys throw hands. Right? I mean, just two almost 70-year-old men. Just
he's not that old, is he?
Saban is.
Well, Saban, yeah, but
Jimbo's probably what? He's at least 60.
Yeah. I mean, Jimbo's up there.
Alabama's Tuesday, so Alabama's the first one tomorrow, and then A&M is going to be the last one on Thursday.
Or, it would even be better than that. Like, not at the actual media days, but like a scuffle in the parking lot at the hotel or like walking into media days. That would be great. It
would be great. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen, but that would be awesome.
I can't see Nick Saban fighting a man. I mean, I know he likes to yell a lot, but I can't see him getting in an actual physical altercation.
What if he was just the softest guy ever when it came to like actually fighting people? Like, what if he was just all talk, all bark, no bite, and he just bowed down to somebody as soon as like hands started getting thrown?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't think Jimbo's has that. I think Jimbo's a little crazy.
Yeah, Jimbo's definitely Jimbo's got some crazy in him for sure.
Oh, I could see Jimbo. He would have the quickest 1-2, and then when you're on the ground, he wouldn't stop.
He wouldn't stop talking.
Yes.
While Saban gets called like a bad name. Nobody's ever talked back to Saban. That is the problem. Once somebody talks back to Saban, it's like you punch a bully in the mouth. He kind of backs away, right?
Maybe Jimbo.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, man. I mean, maybe we witnessed the first time somebody actually responded to something.
Yeah.
Gosh. Wow. Okay. All right. So y'all wanna kind of make a smooth transition into our off the charts defensive back breakdown. Like I kind of say, this is generally you and Rory's bread and butter. Chris, you follow it so much as well. What are we at? Are we still DBU?
We're going to talk about that. Do you have an ad?
I can.
Do an ad. Fire us an ad off, John.
And you looked, to be honest with you, you looked like you were about to read something on your phone. So that's why I was kind of.
No, I thought you were about to do. I thought you were about to do
something.
something.
There's never a bad time to talk about DraftKings. DraftKings is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. You can bet just $5 on any team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. Don't pray. Well, you can pray for your bet to win. Play free for thousands of prizes with your first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code BOOT. Bet just $5 and win $200 in free bets if your team wins their game. That's promo code BOOT at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. 21 plus restrictions apply. MLB trademarks used with permission. See show notes for details. All right.
So as everyone knows, we lost our coach, Corey Raymond, who had been here forever. And we pretty much have a whole new set of DBs this year. We lost pretty much everybody besides, as far as like returning starters, probably Jay Ward is the only one. Major Burns played a little bit for us last year, but I guess we'll start at safety because that's the more, I guess, solid or deep position group, because corners are some new guys, but I think you could say Jay Ward for sure will be one of the starting safeties, and I would expect Major Burns or Joe Fouché, not Fauci.
Boucher?
I forgot the pronunciation of it. They need to put that on LSU's website, but they did update the rosters. I think it'll either be Joe or Major. Major was injured in the spring, which maybe put him a little bit behind. Hopefully he's back 100% healthy. But Joe Fouché was the Arkansas transfer. He's a senior, smaller guy. It says he's 5'10", 210 on this chart. And I think that this is a position that is really going to have to be good if LSU is going to be good, because like we said, there's unknown at the corner spot. And, Jordan Tolles is another guy who's going to be behind Jay Ward, who was highly recruited. Derek Davis, sophomore, who was really highly recruited too. So I think that it'll be, with Major, Joe, and Jay Ward, you can say that position's is solid enough. It's solid enough. And I think Jay Ward could be a star. Like if he's a star for us this year, he could get drafted really high. And, I think we just need him to be that star of the secondary.
Yeah, no, I completely agree on I think Jay Ward's going to be that guy out of the safeties. I mean, you look, we've seen flashes of what he can do for sure a few years ago. I mean, he had that incredible interception with his knees against Florida, where he had to reestablish himself in bounds. He had 71 tackles last year. I think he's absolutely going to be the guy in the safety position. And Major Burns, he been dealing with some injuries. He dealt with injuries last season. I mean, he only played in 5 games at LSU. He played 6.
Yep.
So, we'll see. I think that he's got the stuff to certainly be a guy who you can count on in the secondary. And then Joe Fouché, people have spoken very highly of him. I mean, he finished 4th on the team in tackles with Arkansas. And so I think he's absolutely got the experience. I mean, he's got 33 starts, so he's got SEC experience in that secondary. So I think good enough is a pretty good word for or adjective to describe where we're at. Obviously, it's not the guys of old, the lockdown guys in the secondary, but I think it's going to be good enough to win you some games.
Yeah, and I mean, I think nickel too, if we want to just kind of talk about that a little bit, it seems like they're going to have a nickel, and that's really important in college football now, just the way the offenses are run. Obviously, there's always, receivers, a lot of three receivers sets and 11 personnel. So these two guys I'm both really excited about. Greg Brooks, who's the transfer senior from Arkansas, but also Sage Ryan, who struggled, I think, a little bit like in school and kind of just getting up to date with college football, living on his own. He even talked about it. It was like completely different living on his own, having his own responsibilities. But he was the number one ranked safety in the country coming out of, and one of the top players, if not the top player in the state. And it's kind of time to see what he's got, because I think that he'll be the backup to Greg Brooks, but you want to see him push Greg Brooks for playing time if he's going to be that star in the future. And Greg Brooks, playmaker from Arkansas, kind of just everywhere around the ball. Excited for him, really am. I think he could be a major piece on this defense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we didn't mention this guy at all, and there's a reason for it, but Todd Harris, I mean, he's not going to be a guy that ever start, but I mean, certainly, this is his 6th year at LSU. He gives me a lot of, this is going to be a weird comparison, but it's the first one that jumped into my mind, like Andre Iguodala vibes on the ward.
Yeah.
He's a guy who's just, he's going to be another coach out there. He's gonna plug and play for you and certainly do well, but he's definitely the old dog that's going to give you a lot of leadership back there.
Yeah, I hope he can have like a Ricky Jefferson type year in his last year and kind of really contribute to the team. That would be good to see. I mean, he's been here forever. So, yeah, I mean, I think safety and nickel are looking pretty solid. To move over to corner, I think the two starters will be Mekhi Gardner and either Seven Banks or Jack Bernard Converse. Mekhi Gardner, these are all transfers from ULL this past year. Long corner. A lot of people, question, can he play, run with these SEC receivers? We're going to find out, I think, is really the only answer we can give right now. It's hard because, we usually have watched at least some of these guys, and I've seen the tape, but haven't watched like him throughout the game. So it's going to be important that he is big for us. And then Jack Bernard Converse was Oklahoma State. I think he's all conference. And he's also a bigger corner, 6'1", 205. He was injured in the spring, which sucked because I really felt like we needed all the corners out there that we could get at the time. I mean, I think they had some random walk-ons playing, corner for a lot of the practices. And, I think it's going to be a fight between him and Seven Banks, the Ohio State transfer. He's had some ups and downs at Ohio State, and he's supposed to be a really good player, and he's had some really good games, and he's also struggled at times. Hopefully, it's just a fresh start for him, and he's back to 100% because we'll need all three corners. Corners go down; they get hurt during games, so is their ankle. All three of those guys, I think that they're going to have to be, solid for the defense as a whole to be solid.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because, I don't really know where I stand on some of this. So when Bernard Converse transferred in, that was the one I was excited about. When I was looking at the finished product of the cornerback room, I was like, Bernard Converse, he's going to be the guy. You look at him; he started 47 consecutive games at Oklahoma. Yep. That's no small feat. He can play. Dude can play. And Mekhi Gardner was somebody who I was like, well, he's coming from ULL, the little brother school of the state. What can he actually, bring to this table? People have said that he has been impressive at practice. They say he's an NFL type, defensive back, an NFL type talent, which is certainly high praise. So we'll see what he brings to the table. But I'm starting to be optimistic about what he can do in the secondary. And then Seven Banks, in all honesty, I don't know too much about him. I know he transferred from Ohio State. I believe, is this his 6th year playing college football. Like, was he a senior and then
No,
it's his 7th
he
year.
in
7 banks.
he has some time left. He's not even. I don't even where.
Hold on, I got it. Y'all keep talking.
I'm pretty sure.
How do you
I'm
spell
pretty sure that
7?
he has 2 years left.
He's
but I'm
pulling a
not
Miles
sure.
Brennan.
This was not updated.
So he's only 22 years old. I know that doesn't mean much. Could have came in at 17.
Wait, who is?
7 banks.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought he had maybe 2 years eligibility left, but maybe I'm completely wrong on that. I just know that he did have some ups and downs at Ohio State.
Yeah.
You pulling up his profile on
I think it's been an injury thing. I mean, I think what you're seeing from a lot of these transfers is injuries, that haven't always been consistent play. And look, I think it's fair to point out that this is not what LSU football is going to be in the next few years of the Brian Kelly era. I mean, we got to remember the cupboard was left kind of bare, so he's just filling a roster with guys who want to be here and want to give it their all, but really, they're not the Patrick Petersons or the Tyrann Matthews of the world. So I think that it's fair to recognize, while we can be excited with some of the names on here and excited about, hey, at least we've got some semblance of a roster that's going to compete in SEC play. This isn't always going to be how it is. We're going to be traditional, like recruit kids out of high school, develop them, and turn them into stars.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at the backups, Demarius McGee, who's a sophomore, and Rodarius Jones, those were kind of Corey Raymond type guys. Like as far as their physical build goes, I do think that they have some potential to be solid players and really good backups, and hopefully they're they stay healthy, because I think we're going to need those two guys, and the other freshmen or the other corners are really just freshmen. I mean, Laterris Welsh, Jordan Allen, Jalen Davis Robinson, who I wouldn't think are ready to play. I mean, maybe they come into camp and ball out, but I don't think you expect those guys to help you out on day one.
Yeah,
at least on defense.
Welch, people are really high on Welch. I don't know if it's so much for his playing ability or what he's got, but it's certainly because of his enthusiasm to be at LSU, which is fantastic. I mean, that's a huge part of it. That's a guy who's going to buy in, and I think we're going to see him contribute early because of his attitude and his mindset. Is he going to be the contributions that people want to see in his first year? Probably not. Like you said, Darius McGee, Rodarius Jones, those are guys that have played in and out. They've appeared in plenty of games. They don't really start too much, but those are absolutely guys that you can cycle in and out and not really lose a beat.
Yep, I agree. So I guess is that all y'all got for
yeah? Did you find? I didn't know if you're still.
No,
looking.
It says he's a 5th year. I
think
he just finished his 4th year. There may have been a red shirt in there. He is only 22, so on paper I think it's his 5th year.
Okay.
Well, I guess there's no difference between on paper or whatever, because on paper Miles Brennan has 4 years, right? So I guess the question as we wrap up the segment, this is a big year for LSU to maintain the title of DBU, correct?
It definitely is. I mean, they've kind of struggled in the last couple of years, but still had high draft picks. But you need the unit as a whole to be good, and you need the defense coordinator and the scheme and all that to fit together. So that's going to be something that's going to be hard to pull off in the first year, because there's freak wide receivers all over the SEC.
Yeah, it definitely feels like, to John's point, it definitely feels like a foundational year. Obviously, you've got a new coaching staff, so anytime you have something like that, you're obviously laying the foundation in year one. But I think when you couple that with a guy like Corey Raymond, who's been here for forever, and then he goes to Florida, which is one of the schools that likes to speak about their claim of DBU. I think the pressure is definitely on to make a name for yourself and establish that as your identity early on.
Yeah, and I think with the hire, it is going to be interesting. I am excited to see Matt House come in and transform this defense, kind of take it over, take that pro style defense and implement it into college football. Like Luffy and you have said, that there's so much work that needs to be done, right? But there are pieces that are there. And you mentioned Florida. You really think Napier is going to let Florida maintain their fake title of DBU? Do you really think Napier is the guy that's going to hold that together?
I don't know. I don't know. My thoughts on Napier are I think he's a good coach. I think that for the hype that he received as an unproven, I guess you could consider him proven. It's just so different at ULL than it is at a Florida or an LSU or Oklahoma, like a Power 5 conference school. And maybe he's got the stuff he's got the coaching chops that are gonna really translate well. Certainly people have spoken highly of him. But I think that you're not going to know what he's got until you see it. And I think that's a completely different story from Brian Kelly and the staff that he's putting together. Brian Kelly, obviously, has skins on the wall. He's got years in the business. But Matt House, you look, everybody knows, he was the linebackers coach for Kansas City, the Chiefs, on their Super Bowl runs. But you can't forget about when he was defensive coordinator at Kentucky. That was really a program that was floundering on the defensive side of the ball, and he provided a lot of stability for the 3 or so years that he was there. And then you pair that with Kerry Cooks and Robert Steeples to round out that side of the staff. I think there's rightfully a lot of excitement in what these guys are bringing to the table.
It just seems like a really mature, smart staff. It really does. So I think that there's reason to be more confident than maybe the two younger, less experienced guys that we've had in the past.
To be fair, I wasn't knocking Napier. it may have sounded like I was being negative towards him, but I was really just setting up the question
in honor of Rory
for you, Chris. Rory does not think highly of the Napier hire. I just was kind of playing to that,
gotcha.
but it didn't really. It sounded like a lot worse than it was. So,
a question, John. You're one of the most serious guys I know. So I take everything.
Right.
Yeah.
No, if you know me, I'm all serious all the time. So, y'all did mention Matt House earlier, and it got me thinking about the House Bar in Tigerland. Shout out to the House Bar in Tigerland. They have been a great sponsor of us since day one. They're going to help us out with some tailgates coming up for football season. They really take care of us over at the House Bar in Tigerland, and they want to take care of you. Head on over to the House Bar in Tigerland almost every day of the week. You can follow them on Instagram for all of their deals. There's constantly deals. Best pizza in Tigerland. Make sure to follow them on Twitter at Tigerland House and on Facebook and Instagram at House in Tigerland. And the House always wins. I do not remember my last House always wins pick because I think 2 weeks ago, no episode last week. We skipped it the week prior, and then I think we didn't have an episode before that. So it's been forever.
Clean slate, John.
Clean slate. And I'm going back with the future. And you know what it's going to be.
Johnny Futures.
You know what it's going to be. First game, LSU in the Dome. I've already said it. It is -3 right now. It was -2.5. Like you said,
I told you to move. Yeah.
It is going to move probably more in LSU's favor. Which is not good for the gambling community. -2.5, I think, is the greatest spread in football, unless obviously they lose by less than 3. But I still think -3 is good. I think it's in LSU's backyard. Florida State, whatever. They haven't shown the progress that LSU, in my opinion, coming off of bad seasons, watching them in the off season. I've kind of done a little research heading into the season opener, but Sunday night game in the Dome. We were talking about getting tickets to it earlier, Luffy. I just don't see a scenario in which LSU loses. And if they win, they're going to win by more than 3. Or if they win by 3, you push. So good bet on my part.
Love it. All right, I'm going with a man who is sponsored by the House in Tigerland.
Nice.
A.J. Fletcher. His odds aren't up yet, but he will be fighting coming up. Shit, hold on. I got to pull the date back up. He'll be fighting soon in the UFC. It is, let's see what UFC it is. August 20th, Saturday, August 20th. UFC 278, Fletcher versus Lusa. AJ's winning this one. He's pissed. He's pissed that he wasn't able to come out on top in that decision in his first fight, and he's training harder than ever, and he's coming back with vengeance. He's just a grinder, hard-nosed dude, and I think he's going to be plus money since he lost his first fight. So take him every which way.
I'm in on that.
Well, I suppose it's my turn. I've got an interesting history with sports betting. I gave it up Lent of
Good for you.
Last Lent. I haven't been back because it's a rabbit hole for sure. So I'm kind of back and forth on what I want to. I feel like I want to bet the All-Star game, but then again, John gave a future out, and I was like, well, why don't I pick something so far from today that no one will remember that I chose this if it doesn't hit or not. So I think I'm going to go for those out there. If you want to bet the All-Star game, I would take the National League at -1.5. I think the National League is a more well-rounded league. But I'm looking here on the Caesar Sportsbook here.
Nope. DraftKings Sportsbook.
I'm sorry, the DraftKings Sportsbook here. The over-under, well, I wanted to be accurate on what I was looking at. The over-under for LSU's wins this year is over 6.5.
Boom.
Boom. Taking the over on that. I think LSU gets to at least 7. I think probably a fair ceiling is 8-4, but I can absolutely see this team getting 7 wins.
Yeah,
Chris,
we've talked about that.
You listen to the show enough.
And I think that if you win that first game against Florida State, then you win that bet. I think that. I mean, I just don't think you lose that first game and then win the bet. But I think if you win that first game, you're looking good.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, and like I said, if it doesn't hit, well, we won't really know until November, the end of November. So no one's gonna remember me being on this show and call me up and say, Chris, you lost me money, because time has passed.
That's a great way to look at it. I think they're gonna win anyway. I actually have been trying to come up with a theory of like how much money I could put each week for my House Always Wins segment pick to be able to net a certain amount to, I don't know, buy me a big $500 Canes gift card or something. I don't know, just something to reward myself for having that much faith in being a homer in LSU. Or I don't know, maybe since Fluffy said I wasn't a fashion guy, maybe I can start getting into fashion.
It'll be a fashion spree.
Maybe I'll go buy myself a Rolex with $500.
There you go.
Is that how much they cost?
You get a fake one for that.
I want a fake one.
John, if you gamble enough successfully to buy yourself a Rolex, you and I need to be speaking a whole lot more.
Yes.
We need to open that line of communication.
Yeah, we were keeping records for a while in the House Always
Wins. We're gonna keep them when football season comes back.
Yeah,
it's just easier because like this time of year, it's like nothing's on really.
If we would just take the time to do it each week, just to like say, oh, did this win or not? But I'm like, we're on episode 115. I think I stopped keeping track.
I think it's good for
50.
like football because then you're able to give like one pick, and it's not like a future or something. It's kind of hard when we're giving like golf picks that are plus 7,000 and stuff like that. So
yeah, I agree. All right. Well, I think that about does it for the House Always Wins segment. Thank you guys so much for listening. We cannot thank y'all enough. Y'all are the greatest fans. We are looking forward to football season. We will be out there tailgating. It's going to be a blast. Just a little while longer. Get through the end of July and the August heat, and we are right back in it. Shout out to the House Bar in Tigerland, Workbox LLC, Blaine Loop with Keller Williams Realty. Also want you to know that Keller Williams is an equal opportunity housing partner. Each office independently owned and operated. DraftKings and the Boot Crew Media Network. Make sure to check out Chris Calderera's Countdown to Kickoff column each week on bootcrewmedia.com. Chris, when will you be posting your next Countdown to Kickoff column?
That's a good question. This one's probably going to be a little later. Next few evenings I'm going to be watching what's left of the Home Run Derby and the All-Star game. But I think Friday is a fair deadline for myself to set on this week. I believe that we're doing. I think this week is 2014 Ole Miss, so that'll be a good.
I was at that game. I remember that game.
Nice.
Okay. Did you rush the field?
I did. We eventually walked on the field. We weren't getting trampled running down there, but it was me and my little brother. So we kind of waited till all the craziness was over. Then we walked out that way.
Yep. No, absolutely. It was definitely a memorable game to be there, I'm sure. So yeah, that'll be the next one on the slate.
Thank you, Chris, for coming on today. We got to get you a hat.
Yes. I will. I might be coming to New Orleans this weekend. I'll bring you one.
We still have hats available too to buy.
As kind of a last. This is kind of a segment after the show. It actually is kind of sad, and I hate to kind of bring down the mood after we had such a great episode and Chris filling in for our guy Rory. But thoughts and prayers to all those out there who loved this guy in his element. He definitely lit up a room, a dance floor every time he stepped behind the turntables. It kind of came out of nowhere. We didn't really think about it.
No.
Rory kind of kept it under the rug. He didn't. I guess he didn't want us to get sad. But DJ Road Dogg is out. DJ Road Dogg has retired. He put a long and heartfelt post on Instagram. And it really kind of moved me to tears because I watched him whenever he was just getting started,
Yeah.
And all the pictures he took. I mean, there's a picture from one of his first times DJing, and one of his last. So,
grown men were crying in the club when it was announced. So
yes,
don't feel bad about crying.
A 5-year career, and he signed it. He signed it with love, DJ Road Dogg, and it just melted everyone's hearts. So, not to get too sad, Rory wouldn't want us to be sad about this, but a job well done, a DJing career well turntabled.
Oh man, yeah, no, what a way to end the show, John. But yeah, no, at least we have the memories.
I'm actually about to start crying. Yep. We gotta get off of this before I start crying. Thank you, Chris.
Yep, thanks for
Chris. Is Chris good for next week too? Okay. Yeah. Chris. Hey, Chris.